Invictus my kings, welcome back to another Total War Shogun 2 Total Fall of the Samurai mod Prussia playthrough, and we are about to strike south against the Utsunomiya. Yes, the Utsunomiya clan. We are about to strike south and we will again be at war with a bunch of people. Oh well, what can you do? It's the Prussian way. We must expand, we must march forward. And luckily for us, the scale of the enemy isn't actually going to be that big. It's just a bunch of one province miners, so we can safely go forward and crush all enemies that we meet along the way. I've started to recruit a secondary army over here with some line infantry just to support the main army in case there is some wider engagement, so that we have more units at our disposal. For example, like right now, what do they have? They have mounted Yari Samurai, Katana Ronin, Armstrong Gatling, wooden cannon, bow samurai. Yeah, this isn't worth fighting. We're just gonna auto resolve that that engagement. But the army took a little bit of a beating, even though it was just artillery. But maybe that's why he took a bit of a beating. But now the main army can march forward and crush the remaining artillery that there is. We actually received a lot of casualties from that for some reason. Received a lot of casualties. We sustained a lot of casualties is what I'm trying to say. But here we are. Shimotsuka is now ours, and we will then strike against Hitachi, which is controlled by the clan of Mito. They have well, a big-ish army, so let's march on towards Hitachi next. Alright, here we are about to engage in a major battle. Again, they have a bunch of generals, bodyguards. For some reason, the enemy keeps recruiting that. But they have a bunch of katana samurai mounted and dismounted. Some naginata samurai, some bow samurai, some teppo samurai. So, mostly a Shogun 2 vanilla army we're coming up against over here. Alright, here we are on the battlefield, and we've got some new units here. Some regular... Oh, whoops. Way too far. Some regular old infantry, looking magnificent, looking very Prussian, very nice, very nice. Our army grows in strength and elitism. Not elitism, but what would you say? In experience. Yes, in experience. Our general also getting a whole bunch of more experience. So whoa, the enemy is way back, way behind, but they are marching forward, so hopefully we'll meet somewhere in the middle. Maybe we'll meet them as they're about to leave the forest. And I have to say, this zoomed out camera can be very useful for moving around your units, but it's difficult to see what exactly I would need this far of a zoom out for. But anyway, let's wait for the enemy. Alright, let's try and deploy stakes. Let's see what this does. Maybe it'll discourage the enemy cavalry from coming forward. Although I don't see them doing anything so far. Deploying stakes, and it looks like it didn't... Oh, here we go, deploying stakes. Ooh, the whole line's deployed stakes. So now we're safe against enemy cavalry attacks. We have a whole bunch of stakes deployed in front of us. And yeah, so all that's left for them to do is to charge forward against our line and to get crushed. Alright, here comes the enemy infantry, and we are once more hammering them. This time using both ranked fire ability, which I didn't... Does it do anything? Oh yeah, they're kneeling. They are actually kneeling. So kneel fire and ranked fire actually doing something this time. It's not just for show. But these fellas on the side can start doing a little bit of envelopment, because well, we don't need all this fire in the middle without any support from the flanks. That's for sure. Here we go. The enemy cavalry is making a charge. Let's see how well they do against the spikes. They're sort of very casually making their way, and The spikes did actually do something. The spikes did actually do some heavy damage against the enemy cavalry. But maybe I should have formed squares a little bit sooner than I... maybe I should have formed squares. But oh well, it was worth a try. Let's encourage our troops. And let's now use our own cavalry to flank the enemy. But I think we will do fine anyway. Yeah, I should have formed squares. Oh well, doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter at all. The enemy has some bow samurai, so let's use our cavalry against them. Some bow samurais, and they have actually bow ashigaru. Let's see how the ashigaru looks. Well, it's just the ashigaru from vanilla Shogun, Shogun 2. So nothing really amazing to look at, but still, it's pretty cool that we have vanilla Shogun 2 units in full of the samurai. It's something that I wish was actually a thing in full of the samurai for some of the more traditional factions. You would think that they would have access to units like that, but they don't, which is a big shame. But we are actually, oh, here we go, some colonial line infantry sustaining some heavy damage, our colonial saber cavalry sustaining heavy damage. So as you can see, our units aren't completely overpowered, and melee they can get very easily crushed by the enemy, and all that's necessary to do is to keep them from getting crushed by the melee. It's very important thing to do. Don't want our units to be needlessly thrown away. Definitely not. Definitely don't want any sort of major casualties if we can avoid it. But it is a victory, and we did sustain a little bit of a loss, mostly from the enemy melee charge. There we go. We lost 665 and we killed about double that number. So very nice. Time to take Hitachi by force. You know, peacefully occupy. Very nice. And this has now turned. There's still Hitachi or Mito rebels. They're rebels now. Okay, very nice. So now we can repair the city, and next up is going to be Koga, I think. We're also at war with Edo. So well, there's a lot of conquering. There's a lot of provinces we need to conquer, and it's time to get a conquering. Alright, here we go, marching against Koga, in control of the city of... what was the name of it? Shimosa. I think we'll just siege them out and wait for them to counterattack. In the meantime, I'll maybe build up a little bit more. We'll see how things go. Attrition, let's see. Well, we lost a bit of men to attrition. But I managed to secure peace deals with Edo and Josai, so we'll take them one by one. No need to disperse our forces or to really try and hexacally defend multiple fronts at the same time. We'll just attack them one by one as the well, as the situation allows. But I think Musashi is actually gonna come under attack by the Americans from the looks of things, because they are bombarding the ports of Musashi. So we'll see how the Americans do, maybe, but it's shaping like we're gonna actually have to fight a war against the Americans here pretty soon after we conquer Musashi, Shimosa and Kazusa. We'll probably have to fight against the Americans, and it looks like their capital is here in Shimoda, so we'll have to fight against the Americans. Unavoidable. They are in the way, and we'll show them what's what. We'll show them some good old Prussian steel. We'll figure out which blue is superior, whether their American uniform blue or our Prussian blue. We'll see which blue is superior. Definitely. But the Koga keep requesting peace, and I keep denying them. Hopefully they sally out. Turns until surrender 3. Well, let's see if they surrender or if they attack. Here we go, they actually decided to attack. Once more, they have some Yari Samurai, some Katana Ronin, Katana Samurai, but this time they actually do have some militia and some Levy infantry, so this should be an interesting fight. Here we are once more with completely disgusting weather. The AI keeps choosing just the worst weather imaginable for our fights, but we can deploy here up on this hill, and I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do, just deploy on a hill to make it as difficult for the enemy to advance as possible. Here they are on the attack, we are on the defense, so let's we defend, sir. Yes indeed, we are defending, so there's no need for us to really make use of any sort of major maneuvers. Let's just deploy like so. Let's just deploy in a very defensive position, and here we have our reinforcements coming, a whole bunch of colonial line infantry, looking very mighty, very swaggish. Yes indeed. I keep running into economic troubles a little bit. These Prussian infantrymen are very expensive, or at least more expensive than I would like. So while I'm also trying to build up the provinces a little bit, I have to recruit these colonial line infantry. Not really able to recruit any sort of elite infantry yet, unfortunately. But I think it should do well for the time being. So far the enemy isn't really throwing anything earth-shattering at us. We'll see how things go when we face off against the Americans. But so far, from what I've seen, these traditional armies really aren't anything to write home about. And here we are, the enemy is slowly approaching us, very meticulously making their way up the hill, but they're all tired at this point because they've been running from way over there. So this should be an interesting one. Hopefully they rout very early on so we don't have to deal with another massive melee attack, but I think that's exactly what we're gonna have to deal with, just another massive melee attack as per usual. That's gonna do a lot of damage to us. But it sort of targets the center each and every time the enemy targets the center, and it does a very big number on our lines, because we aren't really made for that. We aren't made for melee combat. Very much a ranged army, to be sure. So yeah, but we are doing some nice damage to the enemy. Boa Shigaru tier 1. Let's see if what the enemy does. Doing some serious damage to them. And the bow samurai really not gonna be an issue, but I see, or at least I hear, that they're going for a cavalry attack here, mounted katana samurai. So let's form squares over here on the flanks, so that we can cover our flanks a little bit. And the bow levy is now doing some skirmishing with us. But oh, here we go. Oh, never mind. That's just our flags. It kind of looked like the enemy. The Japanese have a lot of white flags, so sometimes I get confused. Sometimes I get confused by what the enemy. What is actually our flag? What's the enemy flag? It's a little bit confusing sometimes. But here the mounted katana samurai went for a charge, and it kind of looks like the enemy is going once more for a central charge, just attacking the middle of our line, which is fine by me. It's just whatever. That's what we've grown used to. So let's do a little bit of encourage, so our units have more morale, to be sure. And here we go. The enemy over here is making a slight attack, sort of very slowly making their way up the hill. But here we see a massive attack by the enemy. He's charging from behind into them to support this massive blob that's been created. And let's use this opportunity for an envelopment here. Envelopment of the enemy. And let's do something like this. And hopefully our guys manage to hold out. Hopefully everything's gonna be fine. Looks like we managed to push the enemy cavalry back. Very nice. But the enemy militia is making their way up the hill as well. Looks like they're going for a little bit of a melee as well for some reason, even though these guys are basically the line infantry from the base game, which is ranged infantry. So not entirely sure what that's about. But we managed to do a little bit of a flanking attack here. The enemy decided that going for a charge is where it's at. So, well, no reason to argue with them. We sustained a little bit of damage over here, so let's move our units a little bit back. No reason to keep them in the fight just to get crushed completely. Let's form out of square here. Let's actually deploy on the side. Deploy on the side like so. Our men are exhausted. Indeed, they have been doing some heavy fighting here in the middle. Time to slowly but surely peel away the units that have sustained the most damage. Let's encourage once more with our general and let's move back. These battles have becoming sort of a mess over here. And let's use this opportunity for a massive outflanking move. And why are they colonial? I have to toggle guard mode next time. I have to toggle guard mode because these infantrymen, they keep sort of moving forward, and it's not necessarily the most useful thing they could be doing. But I believe this battle is basically ours. Everybody from their side is running away. All that's left is this bow samurai unit, which keeps getting shredded by our colonial infantry. Let's get this melee action up close. And we're fighting with bayonets. They're fighting with never mind, the game crashed. Let's just auto-resolve them out of existence. No need to really bother with it. If it's gonna keep crashing, then it's gonna keep crashing. But yeah, decisive victory, very nice. Shimosa is ours, and or it's gonna be ours very soon. And I think that's it for this part, Kings. Let's auto-resolve decisive victory. There we go. Peacefully occupy. And I think that's going to be it for this part. In the next part, we'll probably go up against the clan of Josai in the city of Kazusa and the clan of Edo in the city of Musashi. And we'll most likely have to declare war upon the Americans. That's going to be our first challenge, a real challenge of this campaign. Fighting against the United States of America. We'll see who comes out on top. I'll try to recruit as many units as possible for this campaign. The first Euro-American war that's gonna be happening on the Japanese Isles for some reason, but it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, but anyway, thanks Kings for watching, and I'll see you next time.